Hello and welcome. Welcome to Drawing and Dragons. You might have seen my previous video tutorial guide on how to use the World Builder to create your own Civilization 6 map. Today, I'm going to be presenting that same information, but this time I am updating it because there was the June update. And so now I'll kind of give you my thoughts and ideas of what I'm seeing, how it could still be improved, and most importantly, what you need to know to make a map. So first things first, you no longer have to go through the trouble of activating your world builder. It is now already activated, at least the basic mode is. All you need to do is you need to click on additional content right here, and then right here at the top right you will see world builder. Now, do be careful if you have any mods installed. I'm relatively confident on this that if you have other mods installed and they're active, they're enabled, then when you build your map, other people, if they want to play it, they will need to make sure they also have those same mods installed. I'm not 100% on that. I've never really gotten into modding, but I'm pretty sure. So make sure you don't do that. You click World Builder, you click New Map. You can always load map, but we're going to do a new one. We're going to do Expansion, Gathering Storm, because that's what I have. You can feel free to use the other options, but you might as well go with the highest if you have it. Then map type. You could potentially start with a map that has landmasses already built, but I would prefer personally to start with an empty map because I usually am building something specific in mind. So I'm going to start with an empty map. Map size, I personally play on standard a lot, but we're going to be doing dual just for the sake of speed and time and size. If you go to advanced options, again, you can just sort of change those similar things, the resources. We are looking for world wrap though. Turning this on makes it so if you sail to the left, let's say, to the west, you'll eventually wrap around and come in from the right-hand side, the eastern side of your map. So that's very important. If you turn this off, you are playing on a square. If you turn this on, you're playing on a belt. So we'll keep it on for right now. Most Civilization maps that you'll play will have World Wrap on already. So we click Generate, and that is the first step. So, as I've said before, I'm going to be focusing mainly on what is new, but I will still cover the information you need to know. So immediately what you'll notice from this June update compared to the previous is that there's no longer a bunch of lists of text. You now have icons. Everything is based on icons. Starting up here in the left, because this is the most important things, you have terrain, which is basically what tile is there. Like this is a grassland tile. That is the basic tile. You have features, which is what sits on top of those terrains. So for example, I have, let me find real quick, a rainforest. Boom. Then you have continents, which marks which continent do you want it to be. And this is just for the purpose of discovering new continents and things. You can feel free to choose different names. I'll just make mine Pangea. There we go. You have rivers. I cannot show a river right now, but I will in a bit. Same thing with cliffs. You just kind of make them around the edge a little bit. And then resources, which of course is what resources are available there. And again, they have all these nice new icons for you, which is super sweet. I'll get into those in a bit. And then of course, tribal villages. So, one special new thing that they have done to help us out, us map makers, is you can now press Ctrl-Z and it will undo whatever you have most recently done. But you'll notice that even includes undoing the entire thing. Previously, when I wanted to undo this, I would have to click it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times in order to get rid of all this. Whereas now, I can click it once and it is gone. Very nice. Okay, so getting to the terrain, that's usually the first step. Well, first step is loading into the game. Second step is terrain. You have a small brush, which is obviously a single size brush. You have a medium, and then a large, and the radius just increases one by one. I personally like to just use the large brush to get the basic size and proportions that I want, especially looking at my mini map here, and then I will go back and basically erase by using the ocean or coast tiles, and I will erase the land and get it to be the shape I want it to be, and that's where I'll go in and maybe add some other pieces. So I'll undo those. Again, I can undo all of them. Thank you, Firaxis. Very nice work on that. Very good. Now, so let's say we've got our map, right? We want some grassland, so I'll make some grassland here. Again, you can go single click with the left click, or you can do more of a painted style with the right click. So I'm just dragging it across. It does make a kind of annoying noise, so hopefully that's not transferring over into the recording. But again, single click or a painter style. You can move by grabbing the screen with the left click that lets you move it around. So I'm just going to go in and I like to make sure I have some grassland, some plains. We'll do maybe a desert here. Let's get some snow in there up in this area. And then let's get some, of course, some tundra. We need some tundra. So this is my map. Okay. It's not pretty, but it's home. In fact, here, I'll add a couple plains on this side, just so I don't get too many complaints. Okay, there, we have a sizable map, definitely big enough for at least 2 civilizations to spawn on, which is what we need. You'll notice that you have hill versions of each thing, and you have, of course, mountain versions of each thing. It's always good to make sure you put down a good variety of each of these. Of course, they will overwrite whatever you did, so this isn't just add hills, it will put specifically the plains hills variety. I kind of wish that they made it so you could just do hills, and so it's like I could go over this and I would just have hills on the plains. Like it would keep the underlying, like I wish these were features instead of terrains, but I can understand there's probably some complex coding that I don't know about that makes that impossible, so I can appreciate that. And again, you can go in with coastal tiles to sometimes do some larger rivers, or if you want to add in a couple lakes here and there. That is what the ocean or coastal tiles are good for. If you do ocean tiles in the middle of land, it actually will not work. You have to come in from the ocean to do that. So just be aware of that. Okay. Next, we'll go to features. I'm not going to go through every single feature. This is something I kind of wish they would change. What you'll notice here is, if you can read these texts, it might be a bit small, but we have things like Mount Kilimanjaro, which is great. I love Mount Kilimanjaro. Super cool. We have ice, just straight up ice for the sea. We have Halong Bay, which I can put, you know, one of them of. We've got Mount Everest, also great. It has to go here, though. There we go. But what you'll notice is that they do not differentiate between here's rainforest and here's a natural wonder, right? That's a problem, in my opinion. I think what would make this very nice, a spot of improvement, would be to make this so they were separate. So that way I could very easily just get my woods that I want instead of having to find them. They are alphabetical though, so it's not super difficult. But it's just one of those things that could definitely help improve the game, I think. Okay, continents. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one, but essentially you just kind of pick which continent you want and you paint. Again, one spot of improvement is I wish once I selected a different continent, it would have this highlighted in maybe a different color, so that way I could still see where is Pangea. Obviously, if I go over it with Nena, if I go over that area, it will make it Nena. But it means that you might end up with missing tiles. So if I flip between these two, I did cover all of them. But if I didn't, I might not know which is, again, an area of improvement. Down here in the bottom left corner, I do need to mention these before I get to the next step. This allows you to have other options like labels and things. These are always great to have. The one I like to add is to show grid. Only when I'm making a map. I hate having it otherwise. And this is just a full screen map, of course, lets you kind of see what you're working with. But I like to have the grid for rivers. And that's because with rivers, they can be very trickstery. Very annoying sometimes in how they work. It just seems to be a little bit finicky. Whenever you make your rivers, always make sure you're going from a high place to a low place, but it's your map. You can do what you want with it. Now, if you take a large brush, you'll see none of that works. You can only use a small brush because rivers cannot cover more than 1 hex. That would be wild. You'll notice they do sometimes branch. You can, again, place them singularly, or you can place them all over. You do need to remember, of course, that you have to start with water. So unfortunately, you cannot start the mountain here and make a river. I'm clicking and nothing is happening. You must go from the water and trace backwards up to the mountains or up to wherever you're making a river. So it's a little bit backwards in that way, but I suppose it makes sense. Also, they have warned against making a complete circle of river. I'm not going to do that here because I've heard it can break the game. But keep that in mind as you're making your maps, not to accidentally make a circle. If you ever want to get rid of a river, just simply right click on it, and that will get rid of it pretty quick. Okay, cliffs. Cliffs operate pretty similar to rivers in how they're made. You kind of have to click on the edges themselves, which for some people is probably fine. For me, it's something that I find very annoying. Again, you can do the painter style. I actually like to do that sometimes because it gives almost a natural feeling because there's just kind of cliffs sporadically about. They probably should not be in lowlands, so keep that in mind that you probably won't have a ton of cliffs in lower land areas and probably more cliffs in higher land areas. But that isn't always true and can definitely be different depending on your location. Gameplay wise, remember that cliffs, you cannot climb on them, and that certain units can have upgrades that allow you to climb them and other things like that. Okay, resources. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you what each resource is because hopefully you've played this game before and you know. Here you can edit the amount that that resource is worth. This does come into play, especially with Gathering Storm, because things like coal are finite in that you gain a certain amount. It's not a rate per turn that you have, or you just have access. You gain some and then you spend them. One cool thing is with these icons, they have the same icons that are in the game, which means the luxury resources are their familiar purple. You've got the, I guess, just other resources that are sort of this brownish tan color in the background. And then the industrial resources, I don't know the name. Sorry, I'm really bad at this game, I should say. But you have those in red. So it is easier to spot that way. Again, I sort of wish they were grouped into those different groupings, but that's okay. But you can take these and you could go ahead and place them individually if you really wanted to. I personally like to use the scatter resources button. This will scatter the resources, and sometimes it'll take a while. You just have to give it a moment. It's got to think for a little bit. So it is scattering them right now, and there it is. See, they're now scattered. I find the game does a relatively good job of scattering them. Occasionally, I'll have something specific in mind, like I'll be like, oh, I really want this area to have a lot of coal, because these are like coal mountains for some reason. Or maybe you don't like that they have two gypsum right next to each other, so you say, you know what, I'm going to right-click that to get rid of it. And again, you can hover over the different tiles to see what they're worth, what they have on them, all that good stuff. Finally, we have tribal villages, and tribal villages, I like to make sure I have spread out. I like to put them in really odd corners of the map, especially in places where it'll force people to travel, especially on like small islands and things, just because then it really rewards exploration. Otherwise, sometimes I feel like there's really no reason to explore other than just seeing where your enemies are at. So I like to put them around pretty spread out, pretty evenly distributed. And that is the basic world builder. Again, this feather up here, this feather icon, allows you to go and name your map. You go straight to text. I highly recommend you always name it with the same name on the mod as you do the map name. So I'm going to name mine tutorial. Tutorial. That's how you spell tutorial. And then I'll go down here and I'll do the same thing. I'm just going to name it tutorial. Okay. Is named tutorial. Excellent. You can give a description if you want. You can give the map a description. I try to just keep these the same. I don't know if it actually matters, but it makes it easy. Then, that is it for the basic. But we need to make sure that you will spawn in and your friends or your other people spawn in. So we must go into dangerous unknown territory. We must go to the advanced mode. This is still under construction. That's what this warning is saying. So do not get mad if something breaks. You can definitely go online, ask for help, but it might just be a bit buggy, and you might have to accept that. Alright, so in the advanced mode, you will find a whole slew of more options. A lot of these are used for creating scenarios, similar to the scenarios that they have already in the game, and ones that they have as DLC. I mean, you can place cities down, you can place buildings, and you can place like districts. Like, there's a lot you can do with that. I personally do not use any of that because I like to make my maps just as a regular Civilization map, not as a scenario. So I will not be covering any of that. Later on, if I begin to mix into that, maybe I'll create a guide for that as well. But let's just focus real briefly on what we actually need. So this is again a tab for improvements. We're not going to worry about any of this stuff. We're going to ignore all of these. We're going to ignore all of that. We're going to actually go up here to Player Editor. Up here in Player Editor, you will find it'll usually give you automatically a human and some other things. We're going to make sure we set these to any. Let's try again. Oh, I have to switch the country. Sorry. Switch it to any. This means you, the player, are allowed to play any. Right? That kind of makes sense. We're going to remove whatever they have because usually it's garbage. we're going to click Add AI Player. If you want to make it for your friends, I believe you do Add Player. We're just going to do Add AI Player. We're going to do any, and there we go. Add AI Player, any. Oh, first, sorry. When you add them, sometimes it won't designate them as a civilization, so you need to go and make them a civilization. You can also do tribes, city-states, or free cities. I'm actually going to do a city-state because I realize this is a dual map, and we already have our other civilization. So I'm going to go here, I'll make them a city-state, and I'll make them random. If you choose any, they will not spawn. That will be a problem. I'm going to do one more, because I usually like to have 2 city-states on my duels. And then so we've got a civilization set to any, a human civilization set to any, and then we have 2 city-states set to random. And that should be everything you need. If you really want, you could get into all this stuff, what text do each of them have, right? So we could start out with astrology. Okay, like you can do so much with this stuff. But I don't bother with that because we're just here to make a map to play on. I don't even do start locations. You can do those. Again, there's all this stuff here. You can do like start positions. You can do so much, but we're not going to bother with any of that. We are actually good. So I'm going to go once again here, just check to make sure I've got the name I like, tutorial. I'm going to name it tutorial number 2, just because I think I already named a practice 1 tutorial before. So I'm going to name it number 2, and then I'm going to click escape or click this in-game menu button here. I'm going to click Save Map, and it's really cool. It shows a picture here. I love it, personally. So I'm going to name it Tutorial 2. Just again, like I did before, click Save Map. And now I'm going to be exiting the desktop, and I will be showing you, not desktop, main menu, I'll be showing you where to find your map. Okay, so in the menu, we'll do single player, we'll do create a game, and we'll do random leader, because that's great. Make sure I have Gathering Storm selected, because otherwise we won't be able to use our map, because that's what we created it with. Choosing map type. I'm going to go here, and there it is, Tutorial 2, and you can see some of my other maps are listed here. But we're going to click Tutorial 2. And it will automatically force us to be dual. We can choose any leader we want, but we're just going to click random for right now. I can up this if I want to, it doesn't matter. Going into here, I can add more AI players. It automatically will have 1 because it's a duel, again. And then city states, I'm going to change to 2 because that's how many we put in the thing. I honestly do not know what will happen if I were to put, you know what, just for experiment's sake, I'm going to put 4. Let's go wild, let's see what happens. Anyway, time to start loading into the game. Okay, so the reason I'm going into this part is this is a very important step for any map maker in any game, or if you're ever creating content, you always want to double check to see if it worked. So I can already tell that I'm on my map just based on this lake location here, I already know, but just in case, I'm going to get into the console commands, and which is something you do need to activate, and I'm going to type in reveal space all. Now it's going to go through and it's going to tell me, oh my gosh, you've discovered all these things. Oh my gosh, so great. And it will show me all these notifications. And in a few seconds, it might even bug me saying, hey, there's another city state or there's another player. But now I can see my entire map, and wow, is it beautiful. Ooh, the Tengersand Sea, the Hudson Bay, wow. But yeah, so this is the map that I made. You can see in all of its beautiful glory. And there's one other AI player, and there are 2 city-states, and they are randomly decided, Brussels and Auckland. Great city-states, by the way, great city-states. You'll notice it did not spawn 4, which is good, so it will spawn the amount that you put into it originally, so do make sure to keep that in mind. If you plan on suddenly wanting to do more city-states, you may have to add more of them in. Anyway, that is my tutorial guide on the June update World Builder. Overall, my review, so if you want, you can probably close the video now, but my review of it, I would say I really like the icons. It made it very easy to make the map instead of having to navigate large and long lists of things, of just text. It makes it look a lot more interesting, a lot more immersive. I really like that when I'm looking at my maps and loading into my maps and my saves, I can see a mini map of the map I was playing on. I think that's really cool. Things I think that still need some work. I want to be able to select continents easier, and so that way I can actually see the other continents while I'm painting where the other ones are. And like I did say, I wish that they separated the regular resources and the or sorry, the regular features and the natural wonders. I wish that they separated those two out just in maybe two blocks, or at least sorted them that way, just so that way it would be a little bit easier to find the regular features that I want and then find the specific natural wonders. I also, as an add bonus, it would be great for those of us that aren't good at this game if they could tell you what the natural terrain has to be placed on. Like, oh, you have to place Mount Kilimanjaro on a mountain. Now, that's pretty obvious, but some of them, if you don't know them very well, you may not know. Like, I had no idea that this had to be placed on land. I could have guessed that it could be placed in the ocean. I don't know. I'm not very good at this game. So, that is a possible suggestion I have. If Firaxis, if you're watching this, please take my suggestion. Thank you. Other than that, this was Smartlock13 on Drawing and Dragons. If you enjoyed this, feel free to check out my other guides. I pretty much covered everything the same. And don't forget that I have plenty of other maps that I've made, and those maps are in the download, or the download for those maps are in the video descriptions, and you can check out how I made some of those cool maps. And if you have a map that you made, show it to me. I would love to check it out, play a game on it. Alright? Anyway, my name is Alec. This was Drawing and Dragons. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And have a great rest of your day, everyone. See you later.